Hello, my sunflowers. How are you at the first of the year? Again, Happy New Year. I hope 2025 be nothing but a blessing. Okay.
Yes.
Now, with that being said, we hope and wish that you would subscribe to us. And we're trying to reach that 3,000. And you know, when we reach the 3,000, we're going to go 4,000 and 5,000. But nevertheless, we hope that you subscribe. Yes.
Like.
Yeah.
Comment.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we like.
Support.
I don't know why I had freezer burn. I don't know. My brain went. But nevertheless, please subscribe and like us. And if you get this far now in our videos, then that means you like us.
Yes.
Show us
Thank you.
thumbs up, subscribe.
Yes. Become a sunflower.
Sunflowers.
Well, hello there, sunflowers, and how are you guys today? Well, I'm here to not do a reading. I'm actually here to talk about what is going on with these internet streets and what's going on with TikTok, China, and America. Let's talk about it. So, I'm here because I'm a very avid lover of TikTok. I'll say about maybe 2 years ago, I wasn't a hugest fan of TikTok, actually. So surprisingly enough, here I am with everybody else in the boat feeling like, oh my God, I want my TikTok. Don't ban my TikTok. So, the memes, the generation never disappoints. Our memes is memeing, okay? The memes about going to China on January 19th so we can continue using TikTok. Perfect meme content. Also, that shows you how much our generation literally how much, I guess you could say our generation, but just people who use TikTok and use the internet that are in the younger generation just don't really care, take anything really serious. That's both a good and a bad thing. But, because we're able to find light in a situation and find the humor. And that's always the best thing to do. Not always, but when you're sad or you're feeling a little bit under the weather, it's always just great to have a good pick-me-up on TikTok or on Instagram or on YouTube, however you choose to get your fill in on the internet, however you choose to do it. Some people, now that TikTok is going bye-bye, people are switching to some other apps. We have RedNote, and then we have Clapper. Now, I've downloaded both on my phone. I have yet to actually use any of them. Actually, I did briefly go into RedNote. I'm more drawn to use RedNote, especially because I heard they have a fashion feature, and just honestly, Asian fashion just be off the wall. So just to get some like outfit inspiration, I would really just love to browse through their outfit feature. However, here's the slight main reason why I wanted to talk about this and in a video. Not that I want to get too political here. We're just going to skim literally the very surface of this, okay? TikTok is being banned because the company that owns them, ByteDance, I think is their name, is a Chinese-owned company. And if you know anything about China, China has very strict rules. Are they still a communist country? If they are, they're under a dictatorship, that's definitely for sure. And their dictator definitely puts on their lips on what they can say. Almost feels like that here in America, because really, do we honestly have freedom of speech? We have pseudo freedom of speech, because you can get shadow banned, you can get blocked, people might not, you might not get the kind of audience or push the algorithm. So do Americans really favor the First Amendment of freedom of speech here? Like, let's really reevaluate our amendments and how us Americans are approaching our daily lives. But like I said, I'm not here to get too political. So China owns TikTok. I'm pretty sure we're all aware of this by now. And the whole reason why this is a problem, this is literally the only reason why this is a problem, is because China is politically our enemy. And because of that, they don't want China to spy on us, which I totally get that. I mean, it's supposed to be national security and safety for us Americans. I can completely understand that until we think about how, like I said, this is the internet and we literally do not have any privacy at all. I don't do any of us really look at the terms and conditions? They literally make that like a legal document where you have to read like 2-3 pages. Do any of us really want to sit down and do that just to look at some funny memes and to post pictures of ourselves? Do we really want to look through all that? So we're just like, yes, I agree. Yes, I consent. Yes, sure, you can follow and track my data mind me, as they call it. Just yes, just please, because if you could do that, then that means you can cater to what I want to. And if you know that, like for me, example, if I'm into K-pop or I'm into astrology and you see that on other apps, that's what I'm looking into. So when I come onto your app, suddenly I start seeing like Google does, like Google and YouTube does. Suddenly you search something up and then all of a sudden you keep getting recommendations and it keeps popping up in your face and showing up. That's it. There's benefits and negatives to having people basically stalk us on the internet. If we want to get our content filled memes, we're going to have to give up something for them to be able to know us, right? So because of that, that's where, like I said, not too political here. Like I said, I understand both sides of the story. But honestly, if everybody's, I call it internet stalking us and looking at what we're doing on our phones and maybe even deeper stuff that's hidden in the analytics that we are unaware of, because they could definitely get our VPN and all of that stuff. So our IPN, is that what they call? So because of that, we literally have a digital footprint, just like we have a carbon footprint of how much fuel we're using in physical reality. We have a digital footprint of how much space and cloud we are, the Wi-Fi, whatever you want to call it, that we're using. We have a digital footprint of that. So literally anybody could tap into it. And let's be honest, incognito is not incognito anymore. So false sense of security here. It's for real, like honestly for real. So because of that, America feels like in order to save us Americans and really it's to save probably our education system, let's be honest, because there is some concerns about foreigners coming here to America because apparently it's both a blessing and a curse to be having a good education system here in America. And because of that, people come to this country to get that good education. And then once they get the education, they say, wow, America, thank you, deuces. And then they go back to their own country and use it to revive it up. Like, okay, can we first stop maybe to solve these problems? Like, I'm not trying to suggest one world order here, but honestly, if we were one world order, we wouldn't have to be gatekeeping knowledge and information like this. We are on the internet, for Christ's sake. Literally anybody could Google anything at this point. We have AI. AI can search the web for anything, and the web is open to everybody everywhere. So at this point, I just don't understand what the huge hype is here. And also, if we want to take it that step, we already know technologically wise, China is top tier. I'm sorry, but they got robot waiters, for God's sake. They are so like, they took, like, while we got AI down, just like, I think of AI just like a bubble floating in air of knowledge, and you just tap into it and get your information because it doesn't really have a physical form yet. I mean, we do have some robots out there. I mean, I'm very much a fan of I'm actually forgetting her name, Sophie or Sophia. She was a good robot, but Amica has a place in my heart. I love me some Amica. So because of that, I'm a very much fan of humanoids, cyborgs, whatever you want to call them, modified genetic, whatever. I'm very much a fan of that, and I am excited to see where the future is going from here. So because of that, I just feel like there's just so much out there with all this gatekeeping of knowledge. Other countries are moving far ahead. Just like apparently at one point, America was like up and booming in the space industry. So there's just countries that are just going to be good at what they do. And that's okay. But at the same time, that gives some hierarchy, some cockiness, some world domination. Like you think you can power world leaders here. This is where I'm getting at. And because of that, I'm sure America and China and a few other countries are some world leaders out here. And because of that, the leaders of the world are having some conflict. Now, I know the president has been trying so hard to get this deadline extended, because January 19th is when the law is supposed to go into effect. And that means that it will be taken off of the App Store. And once it's taken off of the App Store, if you do not have TikTok downloaded on your phone, then you will no longer, or will be even able to have access to TikTok. So, but that's not even the worst part. I heard that TikTok updates weekly, and you know what happens to things when you don't update them? They start lagging, they start bugging and tripping out, right? So that's eventually going to happen to TikTok, because we're not going to be able to get all those good updates. And maybe there might be some features that we won't be able to see some interaction. So because of that, we're going to be a little bit left behind, those that have TikTok on their phone. God forbid your phone breaks, and then you're going to have to download those apps all over again on your phone. And then, yikes, you can't download TikTok because it's no longer on the App Store. So, yeah, we see the problem here. However, that's why people are flocking to Red Note specifically, surprisingly. Why? I think it's a little bit of retaliation. They're saying, fine, you don't want China in our business, we'll go to China. Okay, I heard this company is also, whoever owns Red Note is actually the same company, ByteDance, or maybe another Chinese company that's like an affiliate or like a sub company underneath this company that owns Red Note. So because of that, America, you kind of defeat your purpose by trying to block and ban China. You basically had the Americans go run to China. I bet they wasn't. I bet the lawmakers weren't expecting that one, and they got a bigger problem to fry now, because they got a bunch of. At that point, it's going to become a thing where if Americans keep doing this, and the Supreme Court keeps banning Chinese apps because Americans keep flocking to it, and they really just don't want any Chinese surveillance on U.S. soil, then it's going to become a problem of, are we being xenophobic? Are we doing Asian hate? Like, where it's just going to bring up more problems and more situations than I don't think America really wants to deal with. Honestly, after doing some browsing on TikTok to find some more memes out of the first two that I showed you guys, I'm not gonna lie, somebody literally was on the same track as me, talking about where everything is going with America and China. However, they actually said that this is actually a good thing. And now that I think about it, they're actually right, because I did mention a one world order. So actually, you know what? I actually misjudged our government. Our government is way more smarter than that. Of course, they knew that doing this would lead them to China. They're in cahoots after all. They just fake that they have a rivalry. Honestly, let's be honest here. So that was editing Baby Crone. I just had to put that in there because that was literally so brilliant. I was just like, oh, how did I not see that? It was so right in my face. Okay. So honestly, just don't ban TikTok and any other apps that are owned by China after TikTok, because we're just going to go down a huge rabbit hole. I think that they see that they're heading down. So because of that, I'm sorry to everybody that's like watching this and might be like a hater. You can't get rid of China. China's here to stay, clearly. So because of that, we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this as the Americans, like the government feels, got to figure out what to do with this infestation. So because of that, I might try Red Note. Lady Crone wants to try Red Note. I heard Red Note is actually starting to become a bit more Americanized. The CEO was very friendly. He was I hate the name. He's TikTok refugees. Come on to this app. You're welcomed. And everyone's just like, oh my God, they're welcoming us Americans. Oh my God, be friendly, guys. And they're just like, everybody over there is super chill, actually. You know how that always goes. Let's not let us Americans F this one up, because we know how we are. We know how we get. We can be a little bit hostile. We forget we have Americans running in our blood? We have the American DNA ingrained in our blood. So wherever we go, we might feel a little bit more entitled, especially if we're getting that good treatment because you allow English speakers in. You're so friendly. You're just like, oh, come here, babies. We'll coddle you. Oh, this is a good place for you. And we're just going to be like, oh, thank you so much for taking us in. Oh, it's so warm in here. They're just like, here, have a drink. We're just like, oh, thank you. And then it's just going to be so warming and welcoming. And then you're just going to have somebody that just kicks the door open and is just like, all right, it's time for us to rule here now. And we're just like, no, why are you going to come here and ruin this for us? There's always got to be that one boastful one that tries to ruin it for everybody. It's like that in life. So because of that, we're going to have to really try hard to accept that as they call us. Remember, we are refugees here. I hate the name, but as a refugee, that means you are fleeing to a place that you were first not welcomed or was not there before. So you have to definitely accustom to their traditions. And especially because this is China, and especially because this is Asian culture, you're definitely going to have to adjust to it. I mean, we're pretty much used to K-pop is in our faces these days. So Asian culture is not that. We got everything from Asia. We got Japanese anime. We get K-pop music. We get the Chinese entertainment. The Asians are literally fueling us with entertainment here, okay? So because of that, I don't see where like I said, I'm not trying to get too political. I completely understand the reasons why the US is doing this. But it's just causing problems, and the memes that are on TikTok is both saddening and also reassuring, because everybody is still banding together trying to help everybody. They're just like, hey, if you like this, go check out this app. So everybody's trying to share apps where they can go, because apparently Mark Zuckerberg doesn't really have a good reputation, honestly, especially because he's removing the fact checker feature on Instagram, and that's a yikes. That's a huge yikes. Is this for freedom of speech? In order to be free, because maybe you share your opinion and Instagram flags that as, oh, this is misled information, don't listen to this. And then like people start hating you in your comments. Is that the reason why? Because we're trying to make freedom of speech really free? Well, actually, in this age of AI generated content, AI generated individuals, AI generated profiles. Did we forget that there are AI generated profiles on Meta and Instagram? Yes, there is. Yes, there definitely is. Have you guys heard about that? AI generated profiles on Instagram that Mark Zuckerberg owns, who actually honestly kind of looks like AI himself. He looks very much like he's from the metaverse. So honestly, to remove that feature, now how are we going to know that we're interacting with an AI profile? How do we know that we're getting AI information news? How do we know we're not sitting there watching AI fake a whole lifestyle that everybody's going to start looking at and dreaming of and realize it's not real, because not even the person that they're gawing at is real. So to remove this fact checking part on Instagram is definitely going in the wrong direction during the age of AI and technology, where there's so much fakeness that we actually need to know what is real. So for that, I could understand why people are not going back to Instagram or Facebook. Facebook was honestly dead anyway. Mark Zuckerberg really tried to revive it. He really did. He honestly did. It's for generation. Facebook is good for networking if you know how to work Facebook and network. However, Instagram, I use Instagram. I enjoy Instagram. I mean, I have a private Instagram account that I don't post pictures on there anymore. I try to find ways to weirdly disassociate myself from the collective. Like I use social media, and on my Instagram I just post honestly inspirational spiritual stuff, so I'm just sharing information with people that like knew me, grew up with me. So who cares if they don't care? They still watch my stories anyway. But I don't post pictures of myself on Instagram, especially not as much as I used to, and that's another reason why I'm not trying to rush to all these apps that all these Americans are running to, because I'm not trying to follow the herd. I'm not trying to be led astray. I'm not trying to follow the masses. I'm not trying to be like everybody else. Call that whatever you may want to call that. But because of that, I'm a bit eerie and a bit weary. So because of that, I'm trying to like find my own place on the internet, because everything is becoming such an internet age and such an internet personality that during the times when things were booming on the internet, and I was, you know how it is when you're younger, just post stuff on the internet, it's no longer like that. So because of that, especially this generation, now that I think about it, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I'm Gen Z, Gen Alpha and Gen Beta, honestly, for what their minds and how they're going to go. But that also has to do with where their Pluto's placed. And we're going to talk Pluto and Aquarius babies. They're literally going to revolutionize this world, honestly. So because of that, the new generation is literally going to shake up things more than all of us previous generations have. So because of that, I don't want to say it, but we really are giving birth to tech babies out here. And because of that, we really have to be mindful. I heard that kids these days don't even use Google to search their information. That's actually frightening. It really is. Unless I'm just old school and I trust trusty old Google. But I rather trust Google and actually fact check these websites, do a little bit of research, than trust some random person telling me their information online. Like, can you fact check? Prove it to me. Where are your sources? That's how I am. That could just be my educational background too, but just I need to know that wherever I'm getting my information, it is trustworthy. Yes, we hear things by word of mouth, just like everything I'm talking about is honestly word of mouth that I've heard people talk about and I've seen about online on TikTok. So yes, I did get my information off of TikTok, but I also did a bit of Google research and read some articles too. Not saying that the younger generation doesn't do that too. There is always exceptions. However, I just think that if the newer generations are using social media to get their information, the fact that Meta is removing the fact-checking feature is alarming for the kids that are getting their information off of these websites. So with that being said, I think I sat here and talked about TikTok long enough and how I feel about TikTok, China, America, Red Note. I didn't mention Clapper that much. Actually, you know what? Put it right here. Lady Crone wants what's a Red Note? So we'll hop on Red Note while we can. We might post astrology. After all, this is something new. Maybe they might like it over there. I'm not sure. But we have a following here. So if you guys are new to Clapper, or not Clapper, maybe Baby Crone will create a Clapper just to see. But our main count will be on Red Note. not so because of that, yeah, I guys hope you enjoyed this video. Our lookup information links will be like right here if you want to look into our accounts. As of this video, there is nothing posted, trust. So because of that, like literally I'm going to make these accounts right after I finish recording this, and that will probably be that in between phase that when I upload this, you guys are already going to see as if it was already created right here. So because of that, yeah, I gave you that weird transition limbo pseudo fourth breaking wall thing. It was kind of weird. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this talk. It's not often that Baby Crone sits here and just talks about what is going on in the industry. So because of that, I hope you enjoyed what is going on the internet, and enjoyed some. Maybe I gave you some insight. I'm not sure. Hey, let's start a conversation down below. Also, hey, if you want anybody else to follow you, put your information down there too. We can start a little community, build it up. After all, this is a new platform. I definitely do have to still check into Blue Skies though. I know I'm a little bit late. Literally when it was up and popping, I downloaded it, but I did not make an account yet. So like I said, all the information will be down here of Clapper, Blue Skies, and Red Note. Okay. I just post all of our social medias, Instagram, our old TikTok that will no longer be in use, and our Facebook account, which just basically posts whenever we do a live news recap or talk about some heavy news. We always post, not heavy news, but just talk about news that gets posted on Facebook, kind of like a podcast. It's honestly just it's the same content. But hey, if you have people out there on Facebook that maybe are not familiar with YouTube, since we're here doing promotions, follow, share the Facebook account. Therefore, they can get some information or find out what's going on. So yeah, with that being said, so usually that means the video will probably go up like once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on whenever we do a news recap. And lately the news has been kind of slow because it's all about certain people's. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this recap conversation talk about TikTok and what is going on. And honestly, Baby Crone can't do a video without talking about astrology. It's actually quite curious that this is happening at the very beginning of 2025. And actually, even though we are in a new year, metaphorically, because according to the zodiac sign, Capricorn is not the end of this end of the year. So because of that, we are in a new year metaphorically. And because of that, like I said, age of the Aquarius, there's so much so much I want to talk about with astrology, what's going on, but I don't know how to articulate it, but I'm going to try my best right here, right now. So in 2025, the planet Saturn, the rings are supposed to go invisible apparently twice this year. Once in March or May, and then like once later in the year. So at the very beginning, why is this very important? This is only going to last for like a few weeks at a time. Why is this very important? And this also only happens every I'll say 15 years. Yeah, 13, 15 years this happens. And why is this so important that all these things that are lining up in the year of 2025 happens? Well, Saturn represents boundaries and also the society of where we define where the end of reality and the edges of our reality is. And so for Saturn's rings to go invisible, it's still there, but it's just the way it tilts. You know how like when you tilt something and when it's just so flat, it just looks so thin, you can't see them. That's basically how Saturn's rings are going to be. So in the optical illusion that the rings have disappeared, that is a very symbolic meaning of the fact that these boundaries and things that we thought were once holding us back, we are going to be able to move forward. And it's also like a portal and a door. When there are rings and boundaries, things can enter and move through fully. So once there is no longer a boundary or a pseudo idea that there isn't a boundary, therefore it kind of opens up a portal that allows things to flow a little bit more because you don't feel bound. You don't feel bounded. You actually feel boundless. So because of that, that is actually a very good thing for us as a collective in the future of where we're going in the age of Aquarius, as well as all these outer planets. Basically every planet after Saturn, so that's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are all moving into new zodiac signs this year, which doesn't happen quite often. Yes, I am running this down really quick. And because of that, and it's only Pluto that isn't moving into Aries. So that means Uranus and Neptune and Saturn, it's himself too, is also moving into Aries. So because of that, Aries is the start of the zodiac sign. So the start of a new wheel or start of a new cycle, if you want to think about that. So because these outer planets are moving into basically the beginning of the zodiac sign and out of the end of the zodiac sign, that symbolizes another, again, transformation, moving forward, starting a new leaf, thinking differently as a collective, especially because these are the outer planets, and the outer planets have to deal with the collective because they are so slow moving that they affect generations. So funny, I talked about generations, right? And then the last thing that I would just like to talk about, what is very significant, is the fact that even though we are technically in a new year, speaking of China, the Lunar New Year, because China goes by the lunar moon, which they definitely should. If we did that, everybody on the earth, we would have literally 13 months. But people are afraid of the number 13 because of superstition. But we would have 13 months. Sadly, the 13th day would always fall on Friday the 13th. But that means every day will fall in the same month every day. And we would only have 28 days. And we would literally be following the cycle of the moon. However, now I'm just breaking this down real quick. This is how much has been entrapped inside of me. So because of that, in China, we're having this Lunar New Year, and the Lunar New Year just happens to be the year of the snake. And the snake is all about transformation. It's all about fire. It's all about creativity. It's all about shedding the old and in with the new. And because 2025 adds up to the number 9, which is very much the end of the cycle, because in numerology, there are no double digits. So therefore, there's only 0 to 9. So therefore, once you're at 9, what do you have to do? Circle back to 0 again and start a whole new cycle. So therefore, that's that symbolization and that limbo period that we are. So that means when we start 2026, we're going to be in that year of a 10, and there's no double digits. So it's that weird thing where we're at a 10 and a 1, but we'll say it's a 1. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading, this quick breakdown on astrology. Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Snake. So yeah, with that, just symbolizes transformation. Really look out. Things are really going to be shedding. There are going to be some new things. Some things might be uncomfortable because with a snake, one thing about them is when they shed, it's for the sense of gaining strength. Sometimes they might have wounds, so they have to shed their old skin to heal those wounds or cover up. So because of that, there are just a lot of things, a lot of inner work that's going to be going on this year. 2025 is really a big year, and it's only the start of the beginning, especially because we're at solar maximum. Okay, I think I ran down everything in astrology I could think of it now about at this moment. There was probably way more, but I hope I was able to give you guys a little bit more information about how important this year is and how curious that this is happening all at the same time. Okay, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading, this conversation, and please leave your comments down below. And if you want to talk astrology, let's talk some astrology. Like I said, our red note might be astrology based. So if that's the case, you might be getting more of what I just ran down with you quickly. And maybe so that might be something I might talk about on Clapper. So with that being said, Clapper, wow, something I might talk about on red note. So with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I really will be getting to go now. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Please give a thumbs up if you've made it this far. If you enjoyed my opinions, if you enjoyed the astrology part, definitely give it a thumbs up, please. And definitely if you enjoy astrology and the little nuggets that I drop throughout my videos every time I do a reading too. It definitely comes out when I do readings. But if you definitely enjoyed the little astrology nuggets I drop here and there, definitely subscribe to this channel, because almost in every video I do drop a little bit of astrology knowledge. And honestly, I be getting epiphanies too while I'm reading with you guys. So with that being said, I hope to see you guys next time, and sunflowers.